Warning, the following subject matter is rated M for mature.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with, now they looking nervously. And I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer. What you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
That's right, baby. Time is running out. We only got one turn at this thing.
Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
Got to make it count. Gotta be listening to that voice on the inside, right? Wow. All right, boys and girls. All right, there we go. Hey, welcome to Wartime Christianity. My name is Tim. I am your host, and I am here with Sean Focht. How do I pronounce your name, Sean?
It is Sean Focht. It's very German.
Ah, very German. Well, welcome to the program. I'm really glad to have you here, and it's very exciting. You ever been on a podcast before?
Actually, I think this is my first podcast. I've been on a few radio shows, but no, this is my first actual podcast. So.
Oh, well, very cool. Then you're very familiar with not being able to see the person on the other end of the line, right? Because my camera failed and we're malfunctioning, and everybody out there sees us grafted together on the screen, which is fine. And but unfortunately, Sean can't see us today. But we did spend a little bit of time face to face, quote unquote, talking about how we ran across each other. And Sean came across my radar screen the other night. There was a MSAD 11 concerned parents meeting regarding a very important subject in our state, and that is the installation of affirming gender care clinic, I believe at this point, in one particular school. I think is it Gardner? Am I correct about that?
MSAD 11. So yeah, but it would be the high school. So yeah, Gardner area high school.
Right. Well, I'm very interested in this particular subject because I've lost both kids, both daughters, to the culture wars and purple hair and short, purple hair and moving out to Seattle and stuff like that. And so it affected me personally. And then I just lost my mind over the last, around 2020. And then after when I started really paying attention to politics and I started seeing these drag queen story hours and all this stuff. And then, of course, Vanderbilt down in Tennessee, we used to live in Tennessee, and they're, chopping off body parts of kids, which to me is like, to me, this is absolutely criminal because it's doctors violating the Hippocratic Oath. I mean, clearly there's evidence at this point that there are plenty of people that want to detransition. And so this madness that we're trying to install in schools is lunacy. But the fact that we're doing it in a publicly funded school with our tax dollars, that's crazy. So why don't you fill us in, huh? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we want to even talk about the whole tax route, it's the obfuscation of all of this that really is driving me insane with this. It's they keep saying, oh, it's not going to cost us any sort of tax money at all. And it's like, okay, well, it's still going to come from the federal tax money. Like you're still paying for it. You're just paying through it from the federal end, not your state end.
Mhm.
And so it's just like they're just pulling out every single little play in the book to try to obfuscate this through. And it also too, it's the big thing in their playbook right now is they always try to tug at the heartstrings, where they say that, oh, you have to think of the kids. This is for the kids. This is for the mental health issues. Like all these kids have greater increasing mental health issues, and
It's the chicken and the egg. I mean, isn't it possible that these mental health issues are coming from the kind of crap we're feeding them and the antidepressants, my wife said, to solve the problems once you start putting them on powerful hormones and things that I might add, which is the crux of this conversation, they can do and withhold from the parents, right? They don't need to tell the parents. Isn't that the real main thing going on here?
yeah, I mean that's a huge foundation of that. I think the largest overarching issue to this is that this is just another avenue of approach for them to drive a wedge between parents and their kids. I think the Maine law that got passed, where it's like if you're of 16 years or older, you don't need parental consent for any sort of health care or anything like that. And this is just another avenue where it's like, okay, so instead of it being you have to take your kid to the doctor, right? Or even at 16, you would still have to typically take your 16-year-old to the doctor, everything like that. And it's removing that even away from the parents. It's like all this all comes down to like, look, you don't have to worry about feeding your kid. We'll feed your kid at the school. You don't have to worry about, your kid's healthcare anymore. We'll take care of your kid's healthcare at the school. It's this whole separating the kids away from the parents and giving the kids over to the state.
Bingo.
I mean, that's the whole overarching goal in a lot of these policies, because it kills me when they sit there and they're like, oh, well, we have to do this for the mental health of the kids. And we just as implemented, hired on another school counselor to help address like the mental health issues of the school, because the first school counselor they're saying was getting overwhelmed, and it's something like 30% of the student body talks to the counselor at some point throughout the year, and that we really needed another one. So we have two on staff now. Mm. And yet they're still sitting here and they're like, oh, well, we really need this, we really need this, really need this. And it's like, okay, well, where's any of the paperwork that says that we actually need this? And that's the other thing of this too, is like for our school board, we've not talked about any of this stuff yet. This hasn't been in policy. We've not seen any paperwork of this. This is all just a word of mouth kind of thing. And there was a community meeting where they all, like a lot of people went out to that, a lot of school board members went out to that, and they're like, oh, well, since we had this community meeting, then it's okay for us to vote on this as a school board. And it's just like, okay, well, it explicitly said in the community meeting that this is not a part of the school board. This is not actually a part of the school or anything like that. But they're saying, oh, but because there's staff there and because there was school board members there, then we're all set to go. We're all set to put this to a vote, vote it through, and then we'll figure out all the brass tacks later. And it's like that's not how any sort of good governance works.
No, that's correct. It's true, and and I have to say that this is part of you're very astute to mention that this is part of a broader thing. This isn't about the children's health. It isn't about really the gender affirming care because they really do believe that the poor kid is going to commit suicide later in life if they just don't turn into the opposite sex, transition to the opposite sex. But this is about the Marxist principle of separating, and this has been a march of things over the years. I mean, first it was, race, and then of course feminism, first, second, third, and now fourth wave feminism. It's just a whole series of things that are all cloaked in different ways, but it's to destroy even BLM. If you remember back when before they scrubbed it from the internet, their website said their main purpose or one of their main goals was destruction of the nuclear family. And so the state wants to become that family and they want to raise your children. And this started way back when, with Dewey and Rockefeller back in the formation of the public education system. And now here we are about, well, I don't know, about 100 years later or so. And look where we're at, right? And we're fighting these battles that are, I mean, this is ultimately the one. I mean, they put kids in parents in jail because of what their child did that they're responsible for if they're under 18, right? If they go shoot up a school, right? They throw the parents in jail. But now all of a sudden, on this particular issue, we're going to separate the kids from the parents, and they don't have a say. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like what was it? When a lot of this stuff was first going on, and they were putting parents on watch lists and all that stuff for speaking out at school board meetings. And there's a very strange amount of like heavy down, top down control when it comes to the school board meetings. I would love for it to be a lot more open. And then even too, it's like as I've gotten on the school board, because I've only been on the school board now for about 6 months. So I'm still in this learning phase of it. But I look around at other school boards, and other school boards, they love having like these big town halls. And it's even school boards that are more say like even down, I think like Yarmouth, they do like big town halls all the time and things like that, where they allow the public to speak and the public directly talks to the school board members, and there's this conversation back and forth. So that there's like this really big feeling, and people are actually really able to get these things across. There's a lot of other school boards all around the state that they go all the way until like midnight, talking about things, talking about issues with the parents, to make sure that they are at least being heard. Like they're at least having their voices be heard by the school board, and they can have like this direct relay of grievances and everything like that.
Yes.
But currently with our policy, it's you have 20 minutes to speak and you have 2 minutes to do that. And 2 minutes for a professional speaker, you can hammer points in 2 minutes. You can go, you can rehearse it, you can really get it down. But for a parent who is, has something that's on their heart that they really need to speak about, and they come in to have that conversation, 2 minutes is not enough for them to even really get up there, collect their thoughts. It's a bit of a nervous thing. There's 12 of us up there. So you're sitting, you're up at a podium talking to 12 people that you've never talked to before,
right,
about something that you are passionate about to take the time out of your day to come and speak. And we're only giving you 2 minutes to collect your thoughts, make your points, and then walk away from the podium. And then, even then, we can't even have this dialogue about any of this stuff. So when they're asking questions, it's like, oh, hopefully we get to that question, or we address that topic while we're sitting there talking amongst ourselves, and we're delivering a meeting amongst ourselves. And so, that's going to be the style of it, what it's going to be when they're going to try to hammer this through on Thursday, the 5th here. That it's going to be, hey, you have 2 minutes, speak your piece in 2 minutes. And there's going to be a lot of people there. And I worry that like the people's voice is not going to be heard on this one. And, that's a real injustice.
Yeah, 2 questions again. And what is the town? What is the school district now? Which one?
This is MSAD 11. So this is Gardner, West Gardner, Pittston, and Randolph.
Okay.
So it's 4 towns that we've all consolidated for the high school, middle school, and then there's the individual elementary schools.
I see. Okay, now I'm starting to understand the nomenclature a little bit better. So let me ask a question. Would it be possible, or is it permissive in the rules? I think somebody suggested in the conversation the other day to turn over their time to someone so that you could you could build a block of time of, say, I don't know, 6 to 10 minutes for one person to address someone who's comfortable with doing that, okay, in a rapid fire way, present all the people and represent the people behind them and point to them and say what they have to say instead of them. Is that possible?
I don't necessarily think that's possible. One of the things that I'm going to try to mention, especially like I said, as this is probably going to be packed out, um, I'm going to make a motion just to try to get more time. Just
Yep.
even if they're not willing to budge on the 2 minutes, it's just like, hey, instead of just 20 minutes on this, like there's a lot of people here who really want to speak.
Oh, 20 minutes is insane. What it is, in my opinion, what it is it's just the same kind of situation that goes on with the abuse of the Roberts Rules of Order, and all this other kind of stuff that you use just simply to shut down conversation. That's all it's designed to do, is limit the public protest, and that's all they're trying to do is squelch it.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to try to at least make a motion, try to get that, hey, like let's say like there's a ton of people in the room, a lot of people want to speak. We have a lot of people signing in on that sheet. It's like, hey, make a motion, like let's say 40 minutes or something like that. 40 minutes at 2 minutes a piece. Like we're going to be here a while, but hey, like there's a lot of people who are very passionate. They want to speak about that.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, I just really want to make sure I get this out here and I say this. The emails. There has been, I mean, I would say since this whole thing has started, since they put it on the agenda, I mean, probably 70 emails so far that we've all have gotten and on the school board. And, I read those emails, I go through them as much as I can. I think I'm about 10 emails behind right now. But I appreciate people reaching out. I mean, this is huge. And, again, like it's one of those ways where it can make your voice get heard. I mean, yeah, like 70 emails to pick through. I mean, that's a lot. But at the same time, though, too, like I said, it's this making their voices heard. And I think it's, people have that First Amendment right. They need to exercise it. And it's fantastic that people are exercising it. I love to see it. And, keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that people have become bolder since the election, right? I think that in a great degree, and I'm hoping that even goes toward Maine, even though we are in a situation where we're still in woke hell, right? Let me ask you about the makeup of the board. Tell me about that a little bit.
I mean, I
Wait,
don't
I mean,
really
I
want
understand. I
to get
understand.
too far into the brass tacks with that because I'll run into.
We don't want to do that for you. We don't want to create difficulties. I'm just asking
But
you, politically speaking, in order for you to be able to continue to be effective at what you do. What can you share with them about kind of like, I mean, how did we get here? I mean, we're discussing this right now, right? So obviously there's some liberal influence in the board, right? I mean, come on.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's like if you watch any of the board meetings because they're all live streamed to YouTube, and I think I've seen you've even taken clips of it. A few of the other guys on X have taken clips of our live stream board meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty easy to kind of pick out whose persuasion is what.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I said, I have to word this kind of carefully.
Yeah,
Um,
be very careful. You should measure your words. We all should.
right. It's elections matter. I think let's put it that way, right? And there's always a lot of elections going on with the school board, especially. It's a very frequently elected thing. There's a election coming up here in March in West Gardner. So there's another ability to change over a seat from a person that's been on the board already. So um, it's staying active. And I know people get tired of politics, tired of talking about politics. They get beat to death with it. I mean, we're coming off of a humongous election here in November, but it's people. It's like, hey, I know it's March. It's a quick turnaround. I mean, we're going to be trudging around in the ice and snow to go door knocking, but like,
Right.
it happens quick, and like you have to stay at least a little bit engaged with it. You have to stay engaged on the local side of things. It's always important to get out there and vote. Um, so like I'm just going to kind of leave it a little bit at that as
Yeah,
far
no,
as
that's perfect.
demographics on the board.
Yeah, no, well, we rested for one day over here.
Right.
Okay, we
Right.
celebrated for one damn day and went, "Ah, ha, 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 ha," and all that. And then we got right back on the horse and said, we got work to do because 2 years is gonna go by in, like, no time. And we really need to be already hitting the ground, preparing, with whatever we're trying to do and get done. All right, so I have a question, I guess, and I can be politically correct if need be, right? I can also be a bull in a china shop, right, at the same time. So I guess the question is, how would you say persuadable are certain people that are of the bent that might support this gender affirming clinic for, of course, the good of the children? Of course, we wouldn't want to question their motives, right? But are they persuadable? I mean, we get more time, and let's just say people get up there and tell their stories. I mean, are they pissing in the wind? I mean, I hate to say it that way, but
No, I mean, I think that there's a lot of questions around this. I mean, I think there's the nature of this one is kind of what's really driving a lot of this, where it's just like nothing's hammered in stone with this. Like, there's no um, policy proposal packet. There's no literature for all of us to read on this. Like, none of this has been disseminated out. We all haven't had a chance to really like weigh in on this. I think there was a survey, but the survey is not going to get down to the brass tacks of this policy. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, look, if we can hone this down to being a extremely narrow and extremely specific thing, then a lot more people would be for it, and a lot of people would be like have that warm fuzzy for voting for it. But just being out there like, oh well, it's good for the health of like the mental health of the kids, or it's good for this situation, or good for that little situation, and it's like, okay, I can understand that, and I hear you, and again, like, I do want the best for kids. I want kids to be happy and healthy, right? I think we all do.
sure.
Um, but it's just like I think it's very like, again, like, I think it's very acceptable that there's going to be a lot of people that when we kind of mentioned that, like, where it's like, hey, there's nothing, like, we're literally going in this on word of mouth, right? Like, we need to have, like I said, this hammered down policy packets that we can all read through, that can all be disseminated out to the public, and everybody can kind of look through this, read through it, curtail it, and be like, hey, this is exactly what we want out of this health clinic. This is exactly what we would want if we do go about all of this. And they keep always, like I said, again, they keep always hammering like, oh, it's going to be free, it's going to be federal money and things like that. And it's like, it very easily, especially with like federal programs, somebody's going to get cut out of that, and we're going to get stuck holding the bag for that. And
Hey, it was a federal program to mandate vaccines. They were free. They paid for them, right? And look who ended up ultimately paying the price.
right. So, it's like eventually these things can very easily come back down on us, especially with the new administration coming in. Could very easily just pull the federal funding out of this, and then all of the school boards that already had these are going to be faced with an astronomical thing that they're going to have to budget for, or they're just going to have to get rid of. So, there's that whole other little piece to this too, where it's just like, again, like, we need to have this hammered out in stone of the funding of all of this, the policies that are going to be in this, what they can and cannot do. And
Yeah.
right now, like I said, they're going like, oh yeah, word of mouth, and let's just vote it through, right? It'll all be fine.
But that's that. Yeah, no, and we can't let that happen, okay? Because
No,
that's the obfuscation. That's the sneakiness, okay? That's the whole. They pull that shit on the federal level all the time, okay? Look, nothing is free, dude. If something is frickin' free, you're the product, okay? You are the product, right? They're getting something out of you, right? In some way, shape, or another. And so what they're getting is whatever it is their agenda is. And I don't believe it's for the health of the children. Okay, this is from the party that has no problem, okay, extinguishing life in the womb at any time, or perhaps even a little bit after, right? If it, warrants it. So I just don't trust them. Okay, I don't
No,
trust it at all. I don't trust the whole thing. And while I appreciate, but I do think the way to hold their feet to the fire is say, all right, you got to tell us what this is all about first on paper, so we can get public comment on it proper like. Because every single organization, every single Department of Energy, all this, they put out a rule proposal, okay, that they're going to do something, and you have to have time for public comment. And you can't have public comment unless you put out exactly what the hell you're trying to do there. And if you're not willing to do that, I got a feeling you're trying to hide something. That's just me.
right. And I will say, I mean, like with our board, I mean, we do a good job with everything else. Like even we were just talking about snowplow contract renewal, and we were picking through like with the two different companies, and like what they offer, what they have, like the response times, everything like that, and looking over the different proposals and what do they have for equipment wise and all this other stuff. And like we go down to that level of brass tacks and good governance for just our snow plow, like
Right.
contract we have to renew every year.
Right.
So it's like, so then why is it for something that could be potentially life changing for a lot of these kids? Well, yeah, they just hammer it through word of mouth. Fine, let's just send it. It's
Yeah.
just like this is nothing like we've ever done with the board.
No, and it's like you got this nothing to see here sort of thing. This is just okay, right? And
Right.
it's definitely not. So I mean, I hope there's going to be a really good turnout, and I'm very curious to we're going to restream that. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. But I think that somebody made a post the other day. I think it was Richard, or maybe it was the Maine Wire. I can't remember, but said that Maine is this particular epicenter of this issue is like the canary in the coal mine as far as the rest of the nation is concerned. And I do believe that all eyes need to be focused on this battle here, because this is, as much as this is a local issue and you're a local guy and you're dealing with this at a local school board, but this has huge implications because, of course, everything that the Democratic Party ever does is either through law or regulation, okay, is set precedent. And that's what they do. They've been doing that ever since the 60s. They can't get most of their stuff through real, honest legislation. So what they do is they build all small case law and precedent and then build brick upon brick upon brick, because the Marxist movement is patient. And us Republicans, I don't know, we don't look much further than sometimes, I think, 2 years down the road. And it's pretty sad.
We tend to be very reactionary. So it's hey, this thing is bothering me in this exact moment, and other than that, if I'm left alone, I don't care.
Right.
So it's that mentality that we kind of have that has allowed a lot of this to fester. So it, like I said, it's the keeping active. It's like, hey, like I said, there's an election here in West Gardner in March. Like we need to be focused on that. Hey, there's again, and there will be another election then too for the school board, I think in November. So it's just like, hey, there's 2 seats up for there on the school board this year. So it's just like, people need to stay engaged. People still need to stay active. It's just like, hey, great, we elected Donald Trump, all this other stuff, fantastic, but you still need to keep engaged with it,
Right.
because it's the, hey, I'm going to do something to scratch this itch immediately, be reactionary to it, and then all the proactive side of it of like, hey, no, I'm sorry, we're at this point where we really have to rebuild things. We're at this point where we have to actually retake institutions and then do this grueling daily work of picking through things, of picking through budgets, of picking through laws and policies and everything else like that, to actually then like revoke things and stuff like that. It's this huge Leviathan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're facing. It's this huge Leviathan, and it's just like, hey, we really just have to hack away at all of this bad policy, all of these the bureaucracy and everything else like that, that's just drowning everything that we're trying to do to actually be good servants, be good public servants for the people.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, this morning I was talking to Jeremy from Pine Tree Patriots, and we've been, this thing is a grassroots thing. He, started it and it kind of exploded, and he added 600 people in like no time. And then we've been pushing on this TNN thing for a couple of years now, and it's starting to really take off. And we're getting, these ideas to get younger people engaged. And we need to get like a young gamer type. I'll host a new podcast, like some hip kids, that are conservative, right? I want to create a new star, right? We live in a day and age where I think we live in a day and age of influence. And so, trying to build any sort of singular organization to battle this Leviathan is very difficult because organizations typically get rigid real fast and they get bogged down in regulation, and you need a board and you need this and you need that legal paperwork and and it's all designed to keep us, I think many of these rules, like walking around house to house to get signatures for petitions. So what the hell are we in the Stone Age over here? We're, the internet. This is ridiculous. So my thing is all about focusing and honing in and making news by creating town halls. Then when people say the things, to broadcast those so that people will see it and we can shame the local news, and that we can somehow figure out how to consolidate all the voices that are rising in Maine that God is lifting up, which I do believe he is, and doing them in a coordinated fashion so that we're not pulling against each other and we're making use of all the best possible tools. The AI developments on a daily basis, okay, they just get smarter and smarter every single day. And I'm the kind of guy that doesn't believe in the word impossible. I just don't, because every day there's new possibilities, right? So if we can, like, for example, this whole thing, I'm going to live stream this meeting. So I want you to send me the details, when it's going to be at, and where I can get a hold of it, because I'm going to live stream it. Because if enough people start to hear, okay, and we're now going to start doing petitions, right? I'm working on this whole trying to figure out what the mission is, what my mission is, what Pine Tree Patriots' mission is, because it's so easy to get misled, and there's so much to do. But, with this crowdsourcing idea of the workload, then somehow it becomes a big band of superheroes like the Mega Avengers, right? And we're all hacking at the different heads in different ways and supporting each other in the process. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And even there's the voter ID ME movement where they're trying to get that whole passed as well. They're getting the petition signatures and everything like that to get it put on the ballot and actually have it as a ballot initiative to get a voter ID requirement here in Maine. Because Maine is one of 13 states that does not have any sort of voter ID regulations. Last I heard, they had 125,000 signatures, so it's very well on its way to getting put on the ballot. It's just a ballot initiative.
Right.
So it's these kind of movements. It's like like you said, the Pine Tree Patriots. There's like the dinner table. There's even some of the tried and true, just like the GOP committees. Like your county and state committee.
Right.
Where it's trying to mesh all of these groups together, so we can actually be like unified in taking this. Because you were seeing a little bit of that meeting where there's a lot of different conservative voices, and we all are extremely individualistic. It's the herding cats narrative. I find very, very much applies to the conservative movement.
Yes,
where we have a lot of different ideas of how we want to go about things and how we want to do things, or our ideals. And it's like sometimes it's just like, hey guys, like, can you put your ideals slightly on the back burner so that way we can at least work together for this bit more of a common goal, and then we can kind of hammer out those finer details later on.
right.
It's just because us working together is going to be 10 times better than what the other side is putting out, right? The other side is putting out more state, more bureaucracy, more control over your lives, more control over your kids. It's just like, let's work together to repeal at least a little bit of that, and then we can go about figuring out how we want to do it better, like later on, right? But like, let's work together in the meantime, please.
Yeah. No, I agree with you entirely. And like I said, I had a chat with Jeremy from Pine Tree Patriots this morning, because we're experiencing that herding cats thing. We're experiencing, it's tough enough to get people to show up to a Zoom meeting, let alone trying to do something in person with people. And so we're trying to figure out what's the best way. I mean, what do we want to do? Well, what I see is we need to influence things. I want to influence things, change. Whether I do that by putting pressure on a GOP state senator or by capturing the seat, I don't care. I want to assert influence. And I think that's done by pressure, by publicity, holding people's feet to the fire. And then, of course, this idea of, within an organization, it's difficult enough, like the dinner table, because I've done some research and everything I get from that is stodgy, slow to move, old, but there's money there. And when they throw themselves behind a particular cause, they can get something done, right? But they don't move real fast, right? Well, they're not going to, I don't know how they're going to vibe to a guy like me, right? I'm the kind of guy that thinks that he's like John Belushi. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give a frickin' speech. And I'm going to run for the door and everybody's going to be running behind me. You hear what I'm saying?
Right. You rally the troops, right?
Yeah. Now, to a certain degree, I believe I'm able to do that. And I can reach across certain things. But I do believe that, there's a temptation for these organizations to want to come too close together and affiliate too much. I think that the looseness and the separateness of these organizations needs to stay. But like you said, there needs to be a flag bearer. And I'm trying to, I think that's Pine Tree Patriots, like backed by us and the kind of alternative media. I think that's what it is. And so if we can do that and rally the troops around the core platform, core principles, and build coalitions, because coalition building is another thing that's got to be in the mission statement, because that's the way the federal election was won, is through coalitions. And its populism is also very important. So I'm feeding all this crap into artificial intelligence based on, plus what he already has as a mission statement, which is based on military code, honor, duty, love of country, all that shit. And so I'm going to see what comes out of it. I'm really excited about it, because I think that if we do this right and keep people in all their lanes, like who's the Tiffany is a nice lady I talked to for a long time, and yeah, and she's great, man. She's got like a legal team, and they got all sorts of structure, and they're doing all sorts of impressive stuff over there. And I'm like, wow, you've been through some stuff over there, and I really but it's it's like I realized I don't think that's for us. I don't think that's for me, my vision, and I need to stay in my lane. That's another thing, is everybody's got different talents and stuff. And what I'm trying to do is not get distracted and say, I want to stick with my original passion. What do I love to do? I love to ride a mic, man. I'm a mic jockey, right? That's what I do. I got a voice. I can talk all day long, and I love to call attention to things. I like to be funny. I like to be engaging. I think I know how to, get people excited about, keeping interest. Because I'm telling you, it's hard on social media. People got the attention span of a flea, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard. Yeah. So, that's where I think we kind of come in, and that's our vision. And I don't know what God's building, but I'm sure absolutely, positively that God's got his hands all over it. That's what I feel. I don't know. Are you a God-fearing man? Just curious.
I am a God-fearing man.
Yeah, good. Because I think that's what we need. We're also under spiritual battle. I've written a book on that, which I will probably get done this week, I hope. I'm so close, man. I got the cover design, I got everything. I just got to do a little more editing. But yeah, I think that we all need to be making sure that we invoke God's protection and God's strength in whatever it is, whatever we're endeavoring. Because if we're doing it and we happen to be doing it, even saved, for our own glory, we're working in vain, right? We're apart from Christ, and we're just not going to get a lot done. We're going to wither on the vine, right? And so, yeah, that's a big thing that I would say. So, but so how do you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think you're touching on the not getting lost in the world and remembering Father, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, we need to stay anchored amidst whatever's going to go down, because ultimately, this isn't about, I mean, we can say all the things we want. It's about the liberal women with the cat ladies that don't have children, that are ruining the world. We could say, anything we want to.
Or the Vance approach, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. But, you know, I mean, ultimately what it is, this is a battle between good and evil. And this is a constant thread and theme. I mean, this is wartime Christianity you're on. That's what people are watching today. And that battle is raging, and it's ultimately, man, serving the father of all lies, because wherever there's lies and deception, there lies the devil. And really the way it comes down to is, like we just looked at this morning on our morning show. Was it in Oklahoma? Some lady opened, I don't know, a town hall meeting or something, with an invocation, a Wiccan invocation in the name of like Medusa and all this kind of stuff. Pretty satanic, the whole thing. And so there's a big argument, was it satanic? And it's like, well, okay, no, but it clearly was the spirit of Antichrist, because it didn't, it doesn't acknowledge the, God the Son. So, I mean, it's just spirit of Antichrist. So, yeah, it's all around us. And we, when we go about to do, and everybody I encourage that is going to be speaking, what day is it again?
That is Thursday. Yeah, this Thursday, the 5th
Thursday,
at 6:30.
At 6:30. And it's going to be broadcast online, right?
Right. That's going to be on the MSAD 11 YouTube channel.
Okay. Please do me a favor, forward me the details on that, so that I can make sure to pick it up, and I will restream it and bring as much attention to it as I can. And today I was remiss. I said, man, I'm still trying. It's like so many things to do to set up a show. And I titled the show, and I really should have. I forget about clickbait. I put your name in there, and there's a guest and so. But it's like people really are hot about this gender affirming care, and I should have put it in the damn title. But I will do better next time, and I will repost the show as a recording later and retitle it so we can get some more traffic on this and more eyes on this. How do you expect and foresee the meeting kind of turning out? What do you think it's going to be like?
I mean, unfortunately, I kind of see this getting hammered through. I don't think we have the votes, enough votes against it. I mean, I know that's a little negative, but I mean, we're going to do everything that we can. We're going to do everything as far as the rules of order, as far as us bringing up all of our points. Like I said, poking as many holes in this as we can, and saying like, hey, look, none of this is in stone. We want this in stone. There's a lot of questions about funding. Why are we doing this right now? Why don't we at least kick the can down the road and maybe see in another 5-6 months? It's not like these organizations or the clinic is going to pass us by or whatever. Like this is always going to be on the back burner, right? They even said like, oh well, this organization has been around since 1972. It's like, okay, cool. Well, they're not going anywhere. Then we can kick this can way down the road and then see what happens, right? And I think it's just fear and desperation that they're going to just try to hammer it through right now, while they have the votes to do it, while they have everything else like that to do it. But I mean, I think it's still, the onus is on us, right? The onus is still on us to really, really put in this fight, to really push back as hard as we can. It's all we can do. And, it's like for evil to triumph, good men only need to do nothing. Right. And so we are the good men who are trying to push back on us, and women too. Right.
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
So
go ahead.
So yeah, that's what we're up against. This is the battle. This is the fight. It's right here. It's right here in front of us. And we have to go after it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a couple of questions. One, is anybody from outside the school district allowed to speak?
Yes. Yeah. People who are outside the school district are allowed to speak. They typically do a rule where they want people who are members of the school district first to be allowed to speak, and then they go to like outside members and things like that, your organizations and nonprofits and everything else like that show up and speak at these meetings.
Okay. All right. Because I got to bug up my ass about this, and I'm pretty good at talking, and I can be pretty succinct, and I can take up less than 2 minutes, and I think I can probably mic drop, but and maybe help pitch in without taking up any time, too much time from anybody that's there that is in the school district that deserves to have an opportunity to say something. But It's just something that I thought of, and it's kind of cooking on my mind. I don't know if I think about it. Maybe I'll put my thoughts down on paper and see. And if I don't think I have anything to add to the party, then I'll just let you guys add it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like I said, if, I show up and the room's packed out, I'm going to try to make a motion for more time, things like
right,
that,
right,
just to make people, like our speakers and like people have the ability to exercise their First Amendment right.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the other thing too I want to say is that, even if they ramrod this thing through, guys, right? We all serve a sovereign God who's sitting on the throne. And that's another thing I just need to remind everybody of. We get real discouraged when we lose things, right? And if we should so quote unquote lose, I think what we need to understand is, oh, well, things turn around and end up biting people in the ass. Like the entire collapse of the Democrat Party in the last 4 years, there's been completed with the pardon of Hunter Biden. Okay, so that all of this stuff is falling, and the battle is ultimately, I mean, we know who wins the war, right? We do know this. And so, and it's on a retreat everywhere, virtually everywhere. So, should we so lose? I guess we shouldn't get discouraged and say, look, you're just going to end up doing something and it's going to be an I told you so later. Okay. And unfortunately, some kids are going to get hurt out of it. And, who knows? But what happens is that God turns all things to the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. And that I believe in for damn straight. And so even when God brings pain and injury into our lives, like some vaccine injuries and things like that, it turns out that it still changed people and they ended up glorifying God in the end. So I've seen that happen. So yeah, I
I mean, God is the ultimate judge. I mean, there is no better judge out there than God. He has the ultimate tally at the end of the day.
yep,
He's the one that will judge us in the, when we go to meet him, right?
yep,
And he has that tally. You will be made to answer, right? That's one of those promises in the Bible is you will be made to answer for
yep,
everything.
yep,
Um,
yep. Yep, absolutely, and
so,
that's the thing that gives me comfort at night, especially for the last 4 years, because knowing that we weren't getting any satisfaction, at least now, with the incoming Trump administration and Kash Patel, should he so man, he's got the left so scared, dude. I mean, they're running for cover. I heard a list leaked out of all the people that Biden is going to pardon on the way out, and it's a list of all the usual suspects, right? They're going to pardon everybody that was part of this big thing, who was covering all this shit up. Ugh.
if we wanted to jump real quick also to state, and I kind of want to mention this, is that we came like so close to taking the House and the Senate this time, which people have said like all sorts of people that I talked to, they're like, "Oh no, we can't do it. We can't do it. We're not going to make it this time." There was with enough votes for us to actually take back the House and the Senate, it was within 100 votes for I think 6 or 7 House races and 5 Senate races. Was within 100 votes. I mean, you know, at least everybody knows at least 5 people. You go out, talk to those 5 people, they talk to
Yep.
5 more people,
Yep.
and all of a sudden we're at 100 votes, right?
Yep.
We did amazing things this election, and we came so close to taking the House, so close to taking the state Senate. And it's just convincing people like, hey, don't be a Debbie Downer about this.
Right.
Like, it's worth it. Your vote matters so much in these little local elections,
Yeah.
especially when it comes down to like school board, everything like that. I mean, we're talking 12 votes. We missed a House seat, I think down in either as Booth Bay or Wisconsin. We missed a House seat by 7 votes. I mean, like you probably know 7 people down there who are like, it doesn't really matter. And so it's like, well, guys, if you did, like, that would have been 1 more seat. That would have narrowed that supermajority they have there in the House by that much more. That means they would have had to come to the table more with us and work with us on things more.
Yep.
It's one of those things where it's like you can't lose hope. You have to get out there. You have to keep with it. And every election matters. Every election has consequences. It's like I said, and again, too, it's not going to be a huge change overnight once we do get in. It's this huge bureaucratic monster that they've made that we have to slowly dismantle and take apart. And so it's not going to be quick. The irritation's still going to be there. But, you have to get the guys in to do the job. And so it's it's keeping with it. It's keeping with the program. It's keeping at it, hacking away, and we'll get there.
Well, yeah, it's a war, okay? It's a war, and we win and we lose battles. And I think that we are gaining. And when you look at it, you have to look at the trends. And, populism is not going away. Okay. Trumpism, America firstism, isn't going away. It's a mentality and a mindset that is growing. And I think with the Enquirer, Richard, my friend, is brilliant tactician. He thinks coalition building. He sees things like he's got a mental HUD map when he sees this shit. I'm not kidding. And he sees how this can be wired against this and this group and so on and so forth and mobilize people upon a singular goal. I don't know what it is, man, but he's almost like kind of a savant. He's real smart. And
He's fantastic at clipping things too.
yeah,
Like there's been so many times where he's gone in, clipped a little thing or something like that. That's how I first found him. It's like I saw he had like all these fantastic little clips that he'd taken of like the live stream school board meetings and like really getting down to the brass tacks of it. Like I was like, I got to reach out to this guy. I got to talk to him.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's
He's like he's if you want to study how to use X and social media, it's like a master's class. Just follow his account. I mean, it's crazy what he does. That thing he did. He just calls people up, man, on the phone and talks to him. He could talk to this liberal in a little conservative town, okay, and this bartender from California, libtard. And he got him to, man, just show his true colors, man. And he's great. He play acts right along. And it's so easy to do, and then he clips it and throws it up there. And we see, the mindset that we're dealing with. And they're basically talking about infiltrating the town council, right? And bringing more diversity, equity, inclusion, and all that crap, boatload of shit that comes along with it, right? So he's brilliant. He's just brilliant. And I'm glad he's like a free radical. And it's like that, and that's where I get much of the inspiration. It's interesting because Pine Tree Patriots was started because of the Enquirer's inspiration. I started having interviews with people just like this, called Extraordinary People. It was my series because of him and Maine focused, generally speaking. And so both of us were inspired by him. And so we're kind of together, sort of got together, three minds, and we're going to sort of put this together and try and figure out what this sort of structure should look like that might be able to cohesively tie the state together in one coordinated effort with a heavy, influence of online stuff, but also, town halls, all kinds of stuff to make physical news that we can broadcast. And crowdsourcing citizen journalism. I mean, I don't need to be all over the place out there with a camera. Everybody's got a phone and camera and can live stream or record, right? And then we can rebroadcast it later. So yeah, that's the kind of vision, and it seems to be coming together. And like I said, it's a bunch of cats, but we'll eventually get them all going the same direction. I hope, don't you think?
Yeah, no, and I think I've seen this great coalition between a lot of nonprofit organizations. I mean, there's Parents' Rights in Education. There's the Maine First Project. There's the Moms for Liberty. And even though like a lot of these groups, they kind of don't always see eye to eye, and they kind of have like a little bit of tits or tats there. I've seen them all come together for one in particular candidate here or there, and they get them over that hump. I mean, especially for me, where this was like, well, I guess technically this is like my second time ever running for something, but Maine First Project and Parents' Rights in Education. I mean, the two groups don't always 100% meet up, but like they both came together to help me on my campaign,
Right.
And get me over that finish line. And I am very grateful for both of those organizations.
Right.
And also they're just great resources too. I mean, as far as they're very knowledgeable on a lot of these policies, and talking to them and chatting with them. And again, it's the herd of cats coming together all for like one common goal.
Right.
And I mean, I think even a very easy common goal is just like, hey, let's get somebody elected, right? Like, hey, let's flip the seat, right? Like, if we can all come together and agree that this candidate is a good candidate and they'll do well for helping our goals, let's combine together on that and get this person in, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
And yeah, and I think we've been fantastic in that. I mean, we finally have gotten around to playing the game, right? Because the Democrats have always changed the rules of the game and everything else like that. And we're always chasing after the rules of the game,
Right.
and we've now learned the game, right?
Hey, you
And
know,
since
and
we've learned the game and we can actually play the game and we're playing all the same game, it's easy. We
yeah,
can do this, guys.
yeah,
Like it's we're getting
yeah, yeah. But you know what, too, is I also believe that the game, we can play the game. We need to know what the rules of the game is, no doubt about it. But I don't know if you remember the famous Wayne Gretzky quote. He said, "I don't skate to where the puck is. I skate to where the puck's gonna be." Okay. And I think that that is what is important. And so I think that having a vision, right, that says that, again, says, I want to quit cutting the end off the ham because grandma did it, because she did it because the pan was too damn short, not because you need to cut the end off the ham. Okay. And so it's a great illustration of what I think sometimes we can do and tend to get rigid and tend to fall back into that thinking. And the coalition building is very important, what you mentioned, because, for example, this morning, Maine Wire and TNN, us, TruthSlinger, coordinated on making and creating news. They reported on some news about the chest feeding initiative that we've got going on right now in $50,000 for chest feeding, okay, so that men can, whatever. I mean, just stupid. And so she went on and said, because I was just talking about, I was doing this mission statement about, well, one of the things we should do is petitions. Petitions are a good idea. Well, actually, she brought it up, and I put it in the mission statement because that's something grassroots we can do. It's available. It's online. It's easy to do. We can collect signatures. Okay, so she went on and popped it on, and it's live. It's out there. And then the Main Wire turned around and retweeted what it is that we did. And there's like, there are already petitions circulating out there about blah, 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 blah against so and so forth. See, so it's the same game that the Democrats play, but we have to play it better. Okay. We have to make this, what I can't remember that it is, they call it, but they make the news and by leaking the news, and then the news happens, and then someone reports on that news, and then it becomes this echo chamber and a loop. Okay. And they do this kind of stuff.
It's reactionary. It's we allow them to set the narrative, right?
Yes.
And it's very rare that we set the narrative. We're always chasing after them. So,
correct.
I think that's going to be another big piece of this. Is like once we take control of something, we have to set the narrative. We have to set, hey, this is what we want to do. And it's great that we have these dreamers like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, where like Elon Musk is like, hey, I want to go to Mars. That's a fantastic dream, right? That's something that we could chase. Or Donald Trump saying like, we're going to build, was it 5 new cities in the United States? Again, like that's a fantastic dream. And like, we've not been pushing forward like this for, I feel, a very long time, where it's just like, no, we need to build new things. We need to make new things. We need to keep striving to be that shining city on the hill. And we need to actually set the narrative to going after that. We can't be chasers.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I think that you're right, that we need to continue, because otherwise we're in a state of decay. Okay, we're not growing. I mean, it's that way. It's that way personally for people in our own selves, and I think it's the same for a country, that we need new things to be proud of, new accomplishments, new heights, new achievements. The days of setting foot on the moon. Now it's the Mars thing. I mean, man, let me tell you something. When that rocket came down, the 2 separate boosters came down. The first time I saw it, when I saw it live happen, my heart stopped. I was like, oh my God. I realized that I now live in the future. I live in the things that I once saw in movies happen, that are special effects, is now happening in real life. And when the other one happened the other day, when the big one, the Titan, came down and got caught in the gantry, we caught a damn rocket. Okay? I mean, that's like, you ever try and balance a broomstick on your chin? Try it once. It's not easy, right? And that's exactly what he's doing with the 20-story tall rocket booster coming back. It was brilliant. And so those things are inspirational. Those things inspire the soul. Americanism, nationalism, that thing we're sorely lacking, because it's all about, like, well, we're self-loathing. I'm so tired of self-loathing, for God's sakes, belly button staring at ourselves and saying we're so awful as a country. It's ridiculous. And so, yeah, I think this whole idea. What is it? In 2025 or 2026, he's gonna have like almost a whole year of celebration, and it's the whatever quadrilla centennial, whatever the hell it is. We looked it up. I don't remember. It's kind of hard to pronounce. But yeah, and then we're gonna have this giant like American fair, like the World's Fair.
Yeah.
What a great idea, man! Holy crap! It's like Americana's back, baby. You know?
I think they were also talking about like having a national state fair where there's like pieces of each state fair
Yeah.
all around. So it's just like, you know, we'll be like, hey, like let's go over to Maine and like Maine maple syrup and lobsters and toothpicks and all the other great stuff that we do. Or you know, go over to like the New Hampshire one. You can have like, you know, again, like the beef and dairy, chickens and all that other fun stuff. And
Yeah,
like,
just like Epcot Center. Just like Epcot Center in Florida. It's like that with the countries, you know.
you know, it's just you know, this whole great ideas coming out of like, you know, this American Renaissance, I'd say,
Yeah.
of us being able to be proud in ourselves again, to be you're boldly American again.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like, if we go down a philosophical route, we're going to go down a huge pipeline, and we'll be here for like another 2 hours.
yeah. No, I know, but it's interesting is like the background, you're pasted over a American flag. And I got a flag, which I actually have found my staple gun. I got to turn it back right side up because I think at the moment we're no longer in distress. If things keep going the way they hopefully should go. But yeah, I mean, it's like, but that symbol, even that symbol, is a triggering symbol to people. We just saw this guy walked into a town meeting, and they're not allowed to display the flag. It's in the thing, and they escorted him out. The cops escorted him out, and I'm just like going, man, when the flag is triggering, right? We're in this place that, you know, we need healing, right? Which is again where God comes back in and national healing, and of course, what is it? No, Ezekiel 7:14 or Chronicles, Second Chronicles 7:14 about God healing our nation and land. I mean, if we repent in sackcloth and ashes, I mean that's why I constantly kind of come back around to that. And I think it's starting to happen. I mean, I see a spiritual awakening with people that like, you know, I don't know how much you follow, you know, people like Russell Brand and Jordan Peterson and you know a number, huh? Yeah, Mark Driscoll and then even Joe Rogan. I mean, is like starting to come around to wondering about talk about Jesus coming back. And so, as I think it's an amazing thing that we're seeing in our culture, which is again kind of a good way to bring this thing back, is the fight is upon us. It's still here in Maine. The fight is upon us, but there are a lot of good things to be hopeful for, and I think that we should always go to bed and pray to God, and then wake up in the morning with a spirit of, you know, warriors, but happy warriors, right? And going at it, swinging the best we can, and realizing, ultimately speaking, that God is indeed in control of all things, because that's what's going to keep our sanity, right?
All right.
All right. Well, is there anything? Well, we can find you on X. What's your handle?
Sean Focht. Just add Sean Focht. My first and last name out there. Yeah, so you can find me on X. I don't think I'm verified yet. Probably should get verified. But
Yeah. Well, I've been waiting for a whole dang year to just get a subscriptions turned on an X. I don't know, man. It's like I don't know if they're doing an FBI background check on me or what, but it's ridiculous. But yeah, man. No, that's good. I'm really glad, and I want to tell you that I'm happy that you've taken the time to run out twice and you're serving in a difficult situation. I know that must be frustrating and difficult, especially if you should, have to come up against a situation and lose. But I think you got a great attitude about it that says, it's just, man, move on to the next battle and let's keep going, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not giving up. I'm not going anywhere. I was elected to this position to push back as hard as I possibly can, and I have been. I'm here for the people of West Gardner, and I will work for them continuously every single day.
Great. Well, that's wonderful. Well, we thank you for your candor, and I also appreciate that you measured your words as well, because I think that is a wise thing for you to do so that you can be most effective out there. So Godspeed to you, sir. You keep swinging at it, and we enjoyed having you. And we would like to have you back. I'd say right after the meeting to discuss the fallout and how things went, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. And if you ever want to talk, philosophy or theology, I'm always willing to, maybe have one of those discussions too. And like we could maybe go down all the brass tacks of everything like that because I'd love to talk maybe American philosophy and bring back like a revitalizing of American philosophy.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, you're talking to the
this has
right.
been fantastic. You do great work. TruthSlinger X, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Yay, absolutely. Yeah, well, God raised me for a time such as this. I was in the evangelical church. It spit me out. So I've been, kind of formally trained and all that. And, but obviously, you saw me earlier, I'm not going to get anywhere near a pulpit these days. They won't let me, I look a little too hairy and in more ways than one. Right. And so, but it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. And God gave me the ministry that I was praying for 20 years. And it's really, really good to be feeling like engaged in the fight. We win some, we lose some, but we keep swinging at it. And I would love to do that because I love philosophy, dude. I really do. I love going down deep rabbit holes, man, because I think ultimately speaking, that's the way it is. When men come together and reason together one another, then we can persuade each other, right? And about things. And I'm even trying to get a gentleman friend of mine, David Patrick. We've grown friends over the internet and X and stuff, to come on. And he used to be in the BLM thing, and he's a black guy, and he's grown up with a different life experience. White parents, I guess he was adopted, and but he has some a quirk about saying things like racial justice and social justice and DEI. And those kind of things sort of stick in my craw, right? And he's like, well, you kind of misunderstand him. And I'm like, oh, well, we need to go further with these discussions. And so I'm trying to get him to come on and do a point counterpoint kind of thing. Because unless we engage with people that disagree with us, like, I'm not going to assume that the guy's intentions are nefarious. I'm going to assume first that his intentions are that he wants to do good things. He wants to improve people's lives. He wants to do reform to the justice system that is actually going to do society good. I'm going to go in with that first, and then we'll pick it apart. And I think that, hopefully, we go in with honest brokers and that they're persuadable, right? And then at some point we know if they're not, and we turn around, shake the dust off our feet, and we walk. But
Yeah.
unless we platform people like that, because, like it took me a long time, with her parents who were classic liberals, I would say, the Kennedy Democrats from a ways back, that changed my ideas a bit about contemporary social welfare ideas, right? And so I've come toward more centrist ideas in certain ways. And right now in Maine, I exist because of the charity of the people of Maine, because I do have government programs, and right now, I'm not making any income. I'm trying to make this work. And so thank you very much, people in the state of Maine. Appreciate your support. But right now, I mean, we're getting, the food stamps and things like that, and the health care. And thank God I did. And so, I'm not one of those people that says, all social welfare is bad, obviously, because I'm a recipient of some of it. But of course, we can do things in a more intelligent way, and we can certainly, make better decisions regarding the healthcare of children, like than we're trying to do here with this healthcare clinic, I think.
Right, and also too, I mean, like, I was kind of touching a little bit basis on this, is that there's already programs in place, right? Like, there's already programs in place for children who can't get health care, for children who need mental health care, everything else like that. I mean, there's all these programs that we've already put in place, and all these safety nets in Maine. And that the overarching objective is this is just one more wedge where it's just like, oh well, we'll completely take care of your kid,
Right.
for you. And
Yeah.
it's putting this wedge into parents who are normally very involved with their kids' lives. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
this the separating of the family. Like, your
Yeah.
kids belong to the state, and you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think we're both in agreement there, and I think we'll just end it on that note, is that clearly this is, we believe, right here, we and I are in solidarity that This is not about the health of the children. This is not about what's best for the children. This is about a larger nefarious agenda to separate parents from their children, right? And that's bad. So if you can participate, in this, and you're in that local area, and that you're a parent, obviously, show up, and we will pray and ask for the prayers for those people that are going to go up and give their testimony. And of course, we should pray for the turning and changing of the hearts of the minds of the school board members, because God can and sometimes does miraculous things. Let us not forget that. So please pray for these people, and don't just say we hate them, but pray for your enemy, right? This is the way we do things. And then God moves his sovereign arm and changes hearts, right? So that's what we want to be doing. And of course, if you can't get involved in any other way, tune in here, and we will be live streaming that so you can see it, or you can watch it over there on YouTube if you like. But we'll have a community to be chatting about it and talking about it. And of course, this program is brought to you by viewers like you. So if you can, and you found any of this useful and helpful, please help support Maine Alternative Media, and maybe buy us a cup of coffee, or me and my buddy over here a cup of coffee, by dropping a tip on the way out, right, on my X feed or under the link tree. So thank you very much, Sean. You were really fun to talk to, and I did enjoy that. And one of the great things about my job, right, is besides all the technical problems, which are giving me a lot of heartburn at the beginning of the program, but I settled down once we started chatting with each other. And we'll get it done no matter what, the devil puts in the works to try and stop us. But anyway, I love talking to people. I just dig it, man. I love getting to learning from new people, because, of course, nobody knows everything. And so iron sharpens iron, and it's great. And so I get to do that for a living. So I thank God for that, and I thank God for you, sir. So Godspeed to you. You keep swinging. And guys out there, you keep swinging and keep supporting and give us prayer cover. My name is Tim. I'm your TruthSlinger, and both of us are the hell out of here. Bye-bye. Moo.